Timeless lessons on wealth, greed, and happiness. Morgan Housel. One of the best and most original finance books in years. Jason Jowick, Wall Street Journal. Let's start, guys, okay?
यो पेन कस्तो राम्रो यार
अहिले धेरै हराएको थियो अहिले फेरि आउनु थालेछ
20 रुपियाँ पर्छ क्या
टिप्न हामीले यही पेन युज गर्थ्यौँ पहिला पहिला मैले
अनि त्यस्तो गर्छ पारस
कहाँ पो
अनि
पुगेको
यो
छ
क्या
हेरौँ।
हामीले ट्युसन पढ्ने सरले उस गर्दै थियो
ए,
यो पेन किन राम्रो हुन्छ भन्थे जस्तो पेनले पनि लेखिदिन्थ्यो
Every decision people make with money is justified by taking the information they have at the moment and plugging it into their unique mental model of how the world works. Those people can be misinformed. They can have incomplete information. They can be bad at math. They can be persuaded by rotten marketing. Rotten marketing भनेको चाहिँ के रहेछ हेर
WR हो
ROTTEN के
राइटको भर्खर रोटन
हो र ए they can be persuaded by rotten right marketing हो
राइटको भर्खर हो कि कस्तो नपत्ताको भाइ
है भाइ चाहिँ गर्नु पर्दैन के हरेक बोलीमा गीत गाउनै पर्छ त्यो नचाहिने रियाक्सन दिनै पर्छ
WROTTEN
होइन के ROTTEN
रोटर भनेको सड्नु के सडेको टमाटर भन्नुहुन्छ है एउटा एउटा बोरामा सडेको आलु हुँदैन
भर्खरै तिमीले के को थर्ड ग्रुप भर भनेको थियो
हजुर मैले WROTTEN भनेको त किन भन्नु
मैले कहिले भने ROTTEN भनेर
मैले WROTTEN भनेको त अरे
रोटन मार्केटिङ भनेको ध्वस्त भएको मार्केट मार्केटिङ
बिग्रेको
सर्च गरेर बल्ल थाहा पाएर
भगवान कसम पहिला थाहा थियो
लेख यहाँ रोटन मार्केटिङ भने चाहिँ के रहेछ हेर न
रोटन भनेको बिग्रेको के
त्यो त बिग्रेको के त
बिग्रेको अब
मार्केटिङ चाहिँ के हो त
मार्केटको बजार
बिग्रेको बजारीकरण बजारीकरण खोइ त बजार मात्रै हुनु
यो मान्छेले त आएन भने पनि यत्रो पढेर पनि तिमीलाई आएन अनि भन्यो भने अनि
त्यो सर्च गरेर रहेछ त खोइ
पहिले मलाई होइन मैले WROTT राईको भट्टार के भनेछु अरे ए भन्यो अनि
They can have no idea what they are doing. They can misjudge the consequences of their actions. सडेको अघि कस्तो आएको थियो त्यहाँ ढकनी होला सडेको डमरुडो They can be persuaded by rotten marketing. They can have no idea what they are doing. They can misjudge the consequences of their actions. Oh, can they ever? Can they ever? But अघि त 17 पुगेको थियो अहिले त 18 हे हे हेलो हेलो बाई 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 हेलो हेलो But every financial decision a person makes sense to them in that moment and checks the boxes they need to check. They tell themselves a story about what they are doing and why they are doing it, and that story has been shaped by their own unique experiences. Did you get that, guys?
अनु कार्कीमा
sense to them in that moment. And boxes, check the boxes they need to check. They tell themselves a story about what they are doing and why they are doing it. And that story has been shaped by their own unique experiences. Take a simple example, lottery tickets. Americans spend more on them than movies, video games, music, sporting events, and books combined. And who buys them? Mostly poor people. The lowest income households in the US on average spend $412 a year on lotto tickets. Four times. Mm, दुईटा देखिरहेको छु, six people. The lowest income households in the US on average spend $412 a year on lotto tickets. Really. Four times the amount of those in the highest income groups. 40% 40% of Americans cannot come up with $400 in an emergency, which is to say, those buying $400 in lottery tickets are by and large the same people who say they couldn't come up with $400 in an emergency. They are blowing their safety nets on something with a 1 in millions chance of hitting it big. 5 million people in my house. And 3 likes. And 3 likes. That seems crazy to me. It probably seems crazy to you too, but hmm, I'm not in the lowest income group. You are likely not either. So it's hard for many of us to intuitively grasp the subconscious reasoning of low income lottery ticket buyers. But strain a little, and you can imagine it going something like this. We live paycheck to paycheck and saving seems out of reach. Our prospects for much higher wages seem out of reach. We can't afford nice vacations, new cars, health insurance, or homes in safe neighborhoods. We can't put our kids through college without crippling debt. Crippling, what is crippling? CREPLING. CRIPPLING. Crippling. Crippling debt, debt, ऋण. We can't put our kids through college के कलेज पढाउन सक्दैन LING yes crippling debt भनेको हामी अपाङ्ग के हो अर्को अर्को सिमिलर ऋणले त गरिहाल्छ नि तर ऋण चाहिँ क्रिप्लिङ डेप्ट भनेर हाल न के रहेछ डेप्ट अरे क्या ऋण क्या ऋण नगरिकन बच्चाहरूलाई कलेज पठाउन सक्दैन अरे क्या अमेरिकनहरूले अपाङ्ग ऋण भनेको कस्तो ऋण घिनलाग्दो ऋण भयो much of the stuff you people who read finance books either have now or have a good chance of getting. We don't buying a lottery ticket is the only time in our lives we can hold a के को CRIPPLING tangible पनि लेख tangible countable oh yes त्यसो भए the lottery ticket is the only time in our lives we can अत्याधिक hold... क्षति पुर्याउने हुन अरे के अत्याधिक क्षति पुर्याउने भनेर लेख्न क्रिप्लिङ डेप्ट अत्याधिक क्षति पुर्याउने ऋण भनेर लेख क्रिप्लिङ डेप्ट पनि लेख वाउ ट्यान्जिबल भन्ने थाहा छ तिमीलाई त्यसो भए
ए हामीले पढेको टेन्जिबल इन्टेन्जिबल भनेर
ट्यान्जिबल ड्रिम अरे काउन्टेबल
काउन्टेबल र अनकाउन्टेबलमा एउटा हो कि
एउटा भएर कन्फर्म हुनु पर्यो कि
तर हामीले पढेको कि यो अत्याधिक
क्षति पुर्याउने ऋण हो 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 नाइस
आउँछ अघिल्लो टिएनजी
टिए के
टिएनजिआइबिएल
yes. Who's there, guys? Are you guys looking at me? Oh my god. ल है यस्तरी बस्नु पर्यो अब
नेपालीमा त मूर्त छ तर आउँछ कि
मूर्त भनेको मूर्त मूर्त भनेको देखिने We can hold a tangible dream of getting good stuff.
मूर्त भनेको उसके देखिने हामीले टच गर्न मिल्ने हैन
Tangible dream of getting the good stuff that you already have and take for granted.
त्यही हो अर्को त्यसको अर्को मिनिङ भनेको त्यही हो कि हामीले त्यो उस गर्न मिल्छ नि तर गर्नमा काउन्टेबलै हो त्यो मूर्त भनेर नि
मूर्त काउन्टेबल लेख नि त त्यो अहिले इफ यु आर स्योर
हो जस्तै हामीले बिल्डिङहरू क्यासहरू हुन्छ नि इक्जाम्पलमा मेसिनरी चिजहरू हामी गर्न सक्दैनौँ त
सक्छौँ
हो त हामीले अकाउन्टमा पढेको के फाइनेन्समा
We are paying for a
भनेको
dream.
चाहिँ इन्भिजिबल जस्तै फिजिकल टेन्जिबल भनेको फिजिकल मेटेरियलहरू के
We are paying for a dream and you may not you may not you may not understand that because you are already living a dream. That's why we buy more tickets than you do. You don't have to agree with this reasoning. Buying lotto tickets when you are broke is still a bad idea. But I can kind of understand why lotto ticket sales persist. And that idea, what you are doing seems crazy, but I kind of understand why you are doing it. Uncovers the root of many our financial decisions. No one is there, only one people. Few people make financial decisions purely with a spreadsheet. Few people make financial decisions purely with a spreadsheet. They make them at the dinner table or in a company meeting, places where personal history, your own unique view of the world, ego, pride, marketing, and art incentives are scrambled together into a narrative that works for you. Or in a company meeting, places where personal history, your own unique view of the world, ego, pride, marketing, and odd incentives are scrambled together into a narrative that works for you. हजुर के भएछ
ए अब मैले यता पो लेखेछु त केही हुन्न है
यो चाहिँ तिमीले गरेको
आज त मैले यता पो हिजो पनि यतै लेखेछु क्या
इन्टाइटिज भनेर लेखे त लेख्नु यो पहिलाको हो यो
यहाँको हो नि त यो नयाँ पाठ
ए ओके ओके
यहाँ हिजो हामीले लेखेको र होइन हिजो त हामीले पढेकै होइन नि है
हिजो पढेन
यहाँबाट यी उत्पन्न निकाल्नु हितभेद गर्नु अब होस् यहाँ पनि केही हुन्न नि अब यहाँ लेखेको यहाँ
Another important point that helps explain why money decisions are so difficult and why there is so much misbehavior is to recognize how new this topic is. Money has been around a long time. King Alats and Lydia, now part of Turkey, is thought to have created the first official currency in 600 BC, but the modern foundation of money decisions, saving and investing is based around concepts that are practically infants. Infants भन्ने चाहिँ गर infants भन्ने नि गरौँ न
के हो INFANC
FANTS infants
INFANTS INFANTS इन्फान्ट
त्यही त के त
शिशुहरू शिशु के
practically infant
फर्टिलिटी इन्फान्ट हो के
practically रहेछ कि is based around concepts that are practically infant practically चाहिँ एकदमै सानो कुरा हो भनेर रहेछ कि but the modern foundation of money decisions, saving and investing is based around concepts that are practically infant. Take retirement. At the end of 2018, there was 27 trillion in US retirement accounts. सानो सानोतिनो झिना मसिना लेखन
झिना मसिनै होइन
शिशु भने चाहिँ के हो त
बच्चा के
त्यही त यत्रो यत्रो बच्चा झिना मसिना सानो सानो
बच्चा सानो
retirement accounts, making it the main driver of the common investors saving and investing decisions.
शिशु भनेको त
यो अब प्र्याक्टिकल्ली उयो पैसाको कुरा आएर छ पैसामा चाहिँ शिशु कहाँबाट आयो क्या
त्यही त छ त यार
अचम्म छ यार
शिशु सानो लेखौँ न त
भर्खर 17 मिनट हुँदैछ यार
भयो
सानो झिना मसिनो शिशु पनि लेख्दिन्छ but the entire concept of being entitled to retirement is at most 2 generations older. That's before World War II, most Americans worked until they died. That was the expectation and the reality. The labor force participation rate of men aged 65 and over was above 50% until the 1940s. Labor force participation rate for men is 65. गर्दै आएछ त Social Security aimed to change this, but its initial benefits were nothing close to a proper pension. When Ida Mae Fuller cast the first Social Security check in 1940, it was for $22.54 or $416 adjusted for inflation. Inflation भनेको बढ्नु होइन त It was not until the 1980s that the average Social Security check for retirees exceeded $1,000 a month adjusted for inflation. More than a quarter of Americans over age 65 were classified by the Census Bureau as living in poverty until the late 1960s. There is a widespread belief along the lines of everyone used to have a private pension, but this is wildly exaggerated. त्यो भने थाहा छैन होइन एक्जाजुरेटेड भनेको थाहा छैन बढाउनु क्या एक्जाजुरेटेड त्यो पनि लेखा त्यसो भए तिमीलाई पनि पढ्न मिलिहाल्छ नि एक्जाजुरेटेड भनेको थाहा छ जीजी त्यसपछि ERA TED एक्जाजुरेट भनेको कुनै पनि कुरा उयोले एकचोटि सर्च गर नि त
किन गर्छु त अब होला त के
गर न गर त्यही पनि गर
इआरएटी
जिई
अतिरञ्जित अरे बढाइ चढाइ गरिएको
बढाइ चढाइ गर्नु यता द इम्प्लोइ बेनिफिट रिसर्च इन्स्टिट्युट एक्सप्लेन्स only a quarter of those aged 65 or older had pension income in 1975. Among that lucky minority, only 15% of household income came from a pension. The New York Times wrote in 1955 about the growing desire but continued inability to retire, to rephrase an old saying. Everyone talks about retirement, but apparently very few do anything about it. It was not until the 1980s that the idea that everyone deserves and should have a dignified retirement took hold. And the way to get that dignified retirement ever since has been an expectation that everyone will save and invest their own money. Let me reiterate how new this idea is. The 401k, the backbone savings vehicle of American retirement, did not exist until 1978. The Roth era was not born until 1998. If it were a person, it would be barely old enough to drink. It should surprise no one that many of us are bad at saving and investing for retirement. We are not crazy. We are all just newbies. Same goes for college. The share of Americans over age 25 with a bachelor's degree has gone from less than 1 in 20 in 1940 to 1 in 4 by 2015. The average college tuition over that time rose more than fourfold adjusted for inflation.
2 घन्टामा जम्मा 10 भ्युज आज 9 घन्टा अगाडि 139 भ्युज 300,54 भ्युज 2 दिन अगाडिकोमा 148 भ्युज 2 घन्टामा 33 95 views 95 72 85 81 91
Something so big and so important hitting society so fast explains why. For example, so many people have made poor decisions with student loans over the last 20 years. There is not decades of accumulated experience to even attempt to learn from. We are winging it. Winging भनेको चाहिँ के रहेछ फेरि यो winging अरे winging ING we are winging it उडाउनु होला नि
तयारी बिना काम गर्न
होला we are winging it
तदर्थ काम गर्नु अनपेक्षित परिस्थिति अनुसार काम मिलाउनु तयारी बिना काम गर्नु हो होला सेन्टेन्स पढ्न थाहा भएछ
we are winging it अरे के भन्छ there is not decades of accumulated experience to even attempt to learn from. We are winging it same for index funds which are less than 50 years old and hedge funds voila hedge funds which didn't take off until the last 25 years. Even widespread use of consumer debt mortgages credit cards, and car loans did not take off until after World War II, when the GI Bill made it easier for millions of Americans to borrow. Those were domesticated 10,000 years ago and still retain some behaviors of their wild ancestors. The eight. के मलाई नि थाहा छ थाहा नभएको त म भनिहाल्छु त तिमीलाई सिधै Yet here we are with between 20 and 50 years of experience in the modern financial system, hoping to be perfectly acclimated. के थाहा बुझ्यो होला भने होला नि acclimated भनेको के थाहा नि मलाई लेख नि त नि अनि 50 वर्ष अगाडि MATD अभ्यस्त अभ्यस्त पर्फेक्टली अभ्यस्त भनेको चाहिँ के भयो अनुमति है अनुमानित perfectly अनुमानित हो hoping to be perfectly अनुमानित for a topic that is so influenced अनुमानित गरिएको for a topic that is so influenced by emotion versus fact. This is a problem, and it helps explain why we don't always do what we are supposed to with money. We all do crazy stuff with money because we are all relatively new to this game, and what looks crazy to you might make sense to me. But no one is crazy. We all make decisions based on our own unique experiences that seem to make sense to us in a given moment. Now, let me tell you a story about how Bill Gates got rich. Luck and risk. यसलाई चाहिँ भोलि त पढ्ने कि तर जम्मा 27 मिनट भएको छ त्यत्रो टाइम के गर्ने भन्ने अझै बिहान त 1 घन्टा गरेर भइहाल्यो म सुत्ने फुसफुस लाएर फुसफुस लाएर भोलिदेखि च्याप्टर 2 सुरु गर्ने ल एक दिनमा एउटा च्याप्टर पढ्नुपर्छ कि क्या यो त पातलो रहेछ त बुक 12 रहेछ भनेपछि 12 दिन लाग्छ एक दिनमा एउटा च्याप्टर पढ्यो भने नि लामो खानु त च्याप्टर छैन यति कति पार्नु 1 2 3 4 10 पार्नु 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 10 भन्दा यो यता छैन नि त 9:30 10 पार्न हुन्छ उठ जाऊ है पुग्दैन मुख धुँदैन कपडा फेर्नु